Hello, welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am your host, Rashida McFerrin, and today we are going to be talking about the fact that making money can be easy. One of the things that I have always been passionate about since I started my career around 25, 26 is teaching financial literacy. And I teach with the premise that if you get financial literacy, actually, let me clarify that. If you get financial intelligence, or if you teach financial intelligence to people when they're younger, it lays a stronger foundation as they become adults, transition into the real world. And one thing that I am for certain is that so many people find challenges with money is because we're literally never taught how to handle money. Outside of learning about a checking and a savings account, probably when I was in high school, my junior year, I don't remember ever learning anything else about money while I was in school. And they can teach us all this stuff about history, English, geometry, biology, social studies, all this stuff that may or may not be applicable to our lives later. The only thing that I've used majority of the time in my career that has served me well, my writing skills, my reading skills, my ability to be able to articulate clearly, and basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division and percentages. Those are the skills that you need in life, depending on what profession you end up in. But regardless, you will need to know how to read, write, and speak. If we begin to teach our children money management skills early, I think that lays a better foundation for them having a concept of understanding money, understanding the energy of money, understanding the flow of money, understanding how to, one, how to make money, two, how to create money in regards to when you create a business that brings inflow of money into your business, which ultimately benefits you. I think we would have a much better success rate in regards to people having a more stable financial foundation to build a life on. I'll give you an example. She applied for a consumer loan. She is almost in her 50s at this point. She had a reset probably about 2 years ago, rebuilding her credit, and then decided to pay some stuff late and then was wondering why the bank denied her. Well, pay your bills on time was my response to the message that she sent me this morning talking about getting denied. I'm not going to have any pity on you. Like at this point in the game, you should know that if you pay your bills on time, then that behavior is honored. If you do bad behavior in regards to your credit, that behavior will not be honored with the way our financial system is set up. And nor am I going to take any pity on you when I've preached over and over again that you know better by now. And so I want to talk about us having a different attitude towards money instead of being stressed about it all the time. I get it. I know money makes the world go round. I got that. But maybe we should have a different perspective and approach money from the fact that making money is easy. Money comes to me frequently and easily. Like maybe that should be an affirmation that you should speak to yourself so that when we come to dealing with money, it's not such a tense subject. Because yes, it does make the world go round. We do need it in every facet of our lives. But perhaps if we were to take a different approach to making money, maybe we would have an easier time with money. And so I'll give you an example. For me, my story is very unique. While I do not per se come from money, my family has had the same land in our family for the past 5 generations. We're lucky in that instance that my forefathers, meaning my ancestors, like my grandfather's grandfather, thought about the fact that they wanted to create wealth in this country for their family, for something to have. And back then, after the post era of slavery, during Reconstruction, having land was considered having wealth. even if they didn't know what to do with it. And so that's what my forefathers did. I actually traced our history back on my mother's side. I was raised by my mother. My mother and father split when I was very young. She divorced him when I went to school at 5. And I was raised by my mother, my grandfather, and my grandmother. And I spent a lot of time with my grandmother and grandfather in those formative years, from K through 8, because my mom had older children and she was working. She's a school teacher. And so a lot of the foundational principles of who my grandparents were on both sides, because both of them came into their marriage with assets being land. And my grandmother, God bless her heart, at the time of her death, I don't even think she realized it at that point, but actually, not at the time of her death. Actually, it was right before I got pregnant with my son. And it was right before the market meltdown. How old was my grandmother then? I feel like she had to be like 75. But at that point, when I was in banking school, my grandmother, I don't even think she knew it. She was worth $2.7 million. Like, I really don't think it ever dawned on her that all the land that our family owned at the time was continuing to accumulate value over time. I don't really think she ever knew that she was worth that much in regards to when you assign monetary value to the land. But my family is in farming. But for me, so the conversation of money, I learned very early to work for money, because you got to think about it. Our grandparents were Great Depression. Like, my grandfather was born in 1922, my grandmother was born in 1930. Naturally, that you have to work hard for money value is naturally handed down to all of us, because those are the times that they came out of. But at the same time, so my grandfather went to Tennessee State University, was in the Navy. I followed a path very close to his, not to a T, but my grandmother didn't have any formal education. And she left school really early and she became a hairstylist, and she was a homemaker. She raised 6 kids. And so her wealth comes from her father. We used to call him Jake. Even in great granddaddy Jake's old age, he would never let us call him granddaddy. That's kind of grandmama be with my grandkids, honey. No, you can't call me no grandma, nothing. No, call me by my first name, because I'm always gonna be cool like that, okay? But all of her wealth, technically, she inherits based off of the work that her parents did, namely, specifically Jake, because I think Big Mama was a homemaker. She never technically worked outside of the home, outside of having kids, raising kids, and being on the farm too. So the conversation of money, or not necessarily having money or creating around money, I don't know what really to call it. Creating asset value, I guess. That conversation was a norm in our family for us growing up. My mother is a baby boomer. Although we didn't have a lot of money, I don't take on the struggle identity that my mother had, because she really didn't get paid much. I literally take on the identity of approaching money and wealth from my grandparents, because I spent so much time around them. During the waking hours of the day, I watched my grandmother run her business and then go drive a bus. I watched my grandfather run his business from 4 a.m. to 10 o'clock. And sometimes he would take me back in the tractor field with him to pull up crop. Like, I literally watched them hustle. I hate to use that word, but back then for them, it was a hustle. I'm just simply saying that we need to approach the money conversation very differently, since we have evolved past those time frames in our lives where we did have to hustle and struggle for money. In regards to investing, I want to give 4 quick tips for beginners, making it easier and believable for you to be an investor, because every one of you can be an investor if you put the time, energy, and effort in to do so. Number 1, let's set a goal. A lot of stuff just starts with setting a goal. You have to decide what type of investing you want to do. and how you want to use the money you're going to use for investing and what you want to invest in, and decide if it's going to be long term or short term investing so that you can visualize what investing will add to your life. Number two, start small. Every time I talk to someone and they start asking me questions about finance, because I've worked for financial institutions for the past 18 years, I eventually get hit with the I just don't have the money to invest. Yes, you do. I beg to differ. If you got an extra 5, 10, $15, it is not like we have to go to a physical broker anymore to open a brokerage account to give our money to. We live in the tech age. You can go open a Robinhood, a Charles Schwab, a Citibank, a JP Morgan Chase. It doesn't matter. Like all of the banks have investing arms. You can open a self custodial account now with the more formal financial institutions. You do have to have a capital requirement. I know for Bank of America specifically, I've seen it be like $5,000 be the minimum that you need to put into an investment account. Now for JP Morgan Chase, they actually own the newer IRAs, like the investment IRAs. So you can start small. And now they have Robinhood and Coinbase. I am an affiliate partner of Coinbase, so you will hear me plug all the time in regards to Coinbase. But Coinbase in the United States is the absolute best broker to use for crypto. I think that. That's just my opinion, though. It's not financial advice. Take it as it resonates, but I'm just saying. So you can start investing with little small pennies. That's why my business is pennies to profits. Does it ultimately eventually take money to make money? Yes. But there are so many ways for you to get started. And if you're disciplined over a series of weeks, months, years, something small can turn into something really big if you stay consistent with it. Number three, you're going to have to research and learn the basics. Let me clarify that. Number three, you're going to have to research and learn the basics, or you can come join your girl in Pennies to Profits and learn how to invest, period. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to learn from someone. I may have been an investor all this time, but let me tell you, when I really got good in these streets, in these market streets, is when I took a Harvard class from an emeritus professor who was old school, and I almost dropped that class, y'all. I think back and I'm like, y'all, because he wasn't teaching in a traditional manner, I almost dropped the class. I was like, I don't know what's going on in there, but this is not it for me. What is going on with that? And I kid you not, I stayed in the class 4 months later. The next year, oh my God, I almost tripled. I didn't even know almost. My net worth added some value to it. I'll say that and leave it at that. But that man taught me so much. And I remember thinking to myself, like, yo, had somebody taught me this when I was like 21? Like for real. 18. I'll run it back a little further. 16, I think, is when I took my first economics class. I'll run it back a little further. What about 13? My son made his first investment at 13 years old in Roblox. Like when I tell you I came to play no games in regards to the people that are close to me and around me, knowing how to use their financial skills to make their lives better, I play no games. Now, everybody is not going to have the ability to be able to comprehend what I'm saying. I get that. But there is someone close to you that may be a natural at it. Like my nephew. I started teaching my nephew about stocks when he was 10. My nephew now, in addition to his job and where he works, is a natural forex trader, foreign exchange currency. And not all forex is a scam. Let me drop that real quick. Everybody be like, "Oh, forex is a scam. Forex is a scam." It's a scam because y'all don't know how to trade it. That's another story for another day. But my nephew puts on and knows exactly what he's doing. So if my nephew stacks his cards right, he just turned 25. I guess he'll be 26 in December this year. Truth be told, he works his job using his money to invest properly, build his portfolio, he technically can be retired by 30 or 35, the old traditional working and investing way. So, ain't no excuse in regards to you not wanting to diversify your skills to learn how to manage your money. So put in the research, put in the time to get it done. Or, like I said, you can come join me in my Pennies to Profits cohort, and I will teach you all the information you need. I spent a good little minute building that course. I know at the end of the day, you will walk away with some basics of intelligence in regards to investing. And then the last thing is, I'm going to say it again, you stay patient. What I teach is not a get rich quick scheme. I've been in this game for 18 years. It didn't take me 18 years to learn how to make money, but it took me a minute to find my strategy that works for me. It didn't come like the media was portraying it to come, like in our 20s. Or to all the 20-year-olds who are popping out of the box and jumping out the gate and already hitting seven figures, I'm so happy for them. But for some of us, it took us a little trial and error. It took us getting some investments and losing some stuff before we actually get to the seven-figure mark. It took us going down through there and rebuilding a couple of times. And what I have to say to the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds who are already getting there, and then they're looking around trying to figure out how to maintain their lives, the best advice I have for them, but this is not financial advice, is that not to create a lifestyle that looks like you are a seven or eight figure. Have a decent enough lifestyle that you can be able to retain some of the profits that you're making and make that money work for you. You are really a baller when your money starts working for you, period. When you ain't even got to do nothing to make the money. That's when your money working for you and you like, I done made it. That's the real flex right there. And so wealth building takes time. You have an intent and a desire to want to manifest it, it will show up in your life. Opportunities will present themselves over and over for you to maximize these that will teach you and take you to the next level. And like what they used to say in what's the Wizard of Oz, you got to follow the yellow brick road. You eventually get there. And another thing I want to say to the 20-year-olds that are not making six and seven figures yet, there is no rush. There is absolutely no rush. I did a post at the beginning of the year talking about who I was at 27. And when I tell you the list of accolades that I was just popping off on, listing one after other, and back then, I would have been so proud of that. But now, me looking back at my 26, 27-year-old self, I really want to tell myself, girl, you need to chill out. I'll say that because it's really not that serious. You ain't got to be, by 30, you ain't got to be a seven-figure earner. You ain't got to have seven figures by 30. It's not that serious. I don't know what the media was telling our generation, but God, like when I tell you, I got tired typing it out, and child, I got tired sitting there reading it because it was a lot. And I was pregnant. Like, so the first time I'm running $1 million fund, I'm pregnant with my son, and I'm on all these committees doing all this volunteer service and committee here and this and that. And I'm like, why was I doing all that? That's what I look back and say now. It's like, girl, what you needed to do was sit down and focus on creating life, which I eventually did. But I didn't need to be doing all of that stuff just to prove, I guess, myself to people. Who are they? Psh, child. Now I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I just wanted to say those 4 steps, and let's go through them again. Number 1, set a goal. Number 2, start small. Number 3, research and or join Pennies to Profits, which is my online course. And number 4, stay patient in regards to investing. And so money is tied to investing. And so if we learn to have an easier attitude towards investing, we learn to create in a more easy flow of energy. And it will come to us much easier than it will be from us trying to struggle with it, if that makes sense. I just wanted to jump on real quick and record this episode. Technically, we are in the final 24 hours. It ain't even 24 hours of me turning my master number 44. I'm in my year of 4. I'm so excited, y'all. I'm so excited. September is always an amazing month. Me, my mother, and my sister were all born in September. My mother's birthday was yesterday on September 19th. My birthday is tomorrow on the 21st, and my sister's birthday is on the 26th. And so we celebrate life up in here, okay? And then RIP to my grandfather. He was also a September baby. His birthday was September 9th. I did a post on it on one of the socials, always honoring him because he was and is and has always been and will always be the father figure that shaped me and who I am. So I think that's it for tonight. As always, you can find me on Rashida.AI or you can find me on RashidaMcFerrin.com. I'm on socials, TikTok, Instagram most actively. I do have other social media presence, but I'm not really as active. I am always active on my TikTok and Instagram, so look me up and connect. And if you like what you've listened to, by all means, please give us a 5-star review. Those views help us continue to grow our listeners in regards to the platform. And I think that is all for now. I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.